covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.
Welcoming you all into a special edition of the Inside the Walls podcast. Not really Turf Talk this time around. We will get back to Turf Talk next week, by the way. Should be a Predators episode for you fans over there in Orlando. This one just wanted to highlight because we brought it up last week in one of our shows that, you know, it's come and gone now for Thursday, of course. But we tried, we couldn't get to work, but we're going to do this now as a 1-year anniversary of Inside the Walls. You know, for those of you that are tuning in via, you know, kind of catching us on the National Arena League's own socials, you know, we've been doing this longer than just with the NAL. We've been doing this over a year now. We kind of started up mid last season for those folks that kind of joined along for the ride. And well, Jim, kind of hard to believe it's been a whole year. I mean, second NAL season we're involved with, at least talking about it and covering, you know, plenty of, I would say, bumps, bruises, and moves along the way. Mm-hmm. Here we are. I guess kind of want to take this show to just kind of recollect on a few things, I guess. Man, one whole year. Hard to believe. Just saying, kind of nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's been a year. Our first episode was June 18th of last season. And we never thought that we'd get to this point. We always thought we'll be just that, you know, niche sport podcast without, you know, recognition from the league that we were covering. And it's surprised that within a year, we just didn't have connections through every single team in the league. We got the official label for the podcast. And no matter what people understand about our show and what we do, we are two fans of the sport. We're two fans that basically were introduced to the game in a different way. You were introduced recently. I was introduced a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away where Anakin was still the good guy. That's how long ago that I was introduced to the game. And it's just amazing that we're 52 episodes into the year. We've made good friends in this league. We've become an actual reliable voice in the community. And for me and you, who have had multiple tries on multiple other podcasts to get hit, to get big, this one took a leg of itself with a community that desperately needed a show like ours. And it's been fun. It's been incredible years, ups and downs. A lot of you fans out there love to see Sharks fans eat crow, because I'm one of them. And last year was a pretty hard thing. But again, it's the love, it's the passion. Like my family's told me, like my dad's told me, like friends have told me in the past. Haters go and they hate. And when you just keep a smile on your face and you keep doing what you're doing, then you win the battle. And I just believe that, you know, it's amazing that 1 year we're into this thing. We've met a lot of good people in this community. We've met people that have tried to debunk us. And, you know, okay, you if you want to do it, go ahead. That's the joy of this thing. And I just want to say to the fans who have listened to us, people who have trusted us, and to the owners and presidents and the GMs and coaches of this league who have actually trusted us with your information, I want to say thank you. And hopefully that we're doing a year 2 anniversary next year and years to come. So I can't believe a year has gone by. A little late on the year. We're like a year and a week now. But still, it's small moves, and each episode we do it means more. Honestly, don't want to steal a catchphrase from a certain football league. We might get, you know, dubbed.
Slow down there.
Yeah, SEC said you just said just means more.
We've made it a year. I don't want any risk to not make it to year 2. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get the Southeastern Conference on us next. Like, yeah, you stole our term. My bad. My apologies. But yeah, it's been a great year, and you know, right now, looking now in the 2022 season, it's just wow. We're about to get in the thick of things here, but we'll talk about that tomorrow on the show and future episodes. But we have some moments that we had in this past year that are funny, are interacting. I am currently working on something that I give you hints, but fans don't.
Okay.
as you know, we record YouTube like this. A lot of editing goes. I almost got about 25 to 30 minutes of pre-roll editing of me and Zach false starting the
There we go.
episodes. Um, that would be a separate video that will come out later, being like our blooper section. Be warned, some of the stuff might, trigger people because how it just goes from 1, 2, 3, crap, and then we gotta go back, and you'll see me like throw crap in the background, like penalty flags. I'm like, we're getting penalized here. It's a false start. But that's those are little quirks that I want you fans to see what we do in the behind the scenes. And
I gotta stress it. It's hard to start a show, right? Like you gotta get yourself jazzed up. You gotta really get into kind of a groove, and you also have to think on the fly what you want to say off the cuff. And sure, you get some retries because it's not live with ours. We haven't done a lot. We haven't done a live show. We've gotten practice with some live shows. I have outside of here, so we're gonna be. I mean, it's coming up. It's coming up sooner than you think for us. Funny enough, I mean, that's just a little over a month, actually, kind of. Yeah,
2 weeks, 2 months, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
about
2 weeks.
Just about under 2 months.
Yeah,
we're talking about the championship game, by the way, if you aren't catching on. But yeah, I mean, look, those are hard to do. Just leading off a show. Jesus, I can only imagine getting some of those. I'm gonna be like, yeah. This will be fun just to rewatch it. I'll tell you with the shows, I've had it where it's more, I kind of wanted to see what I could do in the arena space, I guess. Cause if we're talking about this past year, and this applies more to the folks that listen in. I mean, I love the arena community. It's, we talk about alternative and spring football communities out there. I talk with XFL guys, USFL guys all the time. Major League Football is a thing that is going to happen, by the way. That is its own crowd too. I can keep going. Arena, it feels very much more tight knit. I'm going to be honest with you. It feels a lot more community and family oriented, very much more, I guess, we more open debate and discussion topics wise. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that feels more local, a little more into the communities that it's into. I don't know, the national side of things, like the United States Football League, I cover that. And, it's a national brand. It's very much about getting a widespread audience, but with niche sports like the arena scene, like we have, I think you get to meet some folks that maybe you haven't gotten to in the past that are more on a ground level. Some of those diehard fans have been around for years. They enjoyed that sport the longest. It's their baby. It's a thing they get excited for the most every season. You don't see that as much, or at least I don't see it as much in my NFL fandom as I used to. And even with the alternative spring, like the outdoor spring leagues, I don't see that as much either yet. Arena, it's one of those that's been around forever, but it's still kind of like, it's still so underground in terms of like a football phenomenon in some way. It's still a slid for not 37 years. It's even short of it, for almost 40 years now. It is slid as a very underground sport. It's incredible to me. They make people like that listen to this show and I talk to, and we talk to, they make this, it makes it fun. This is fun. I do find this league, even the other leagues, they're fun. It's a unique brand you don't get to see every day, and you get to be like, everybody knows your name. Kind of like the internet's version of a sports bar, but we watch arena football instead of the regular Sunday game in the fall.
Well, that's a good analogy about a sports bar. Everyone just gets together and watches the game, but you stole the tagline. Hope we don't get up with that too. So that's one on you, one on me.
Yeah, I gotta
be. Then we'll get YouTube copyrighted.
I don't want cheers coming at me either. Well, whatever the cast is anymore.
But you made a good point about the arena community. It's been around for 40 some odd years, and why it becomes almost second nature, like underground type of sport. It's because I think there's a lot of fans out there that had teams like New Orleans Voodoo, the Nashville Cats, the Spokane Shock, the Kansas City Brigade, the Chicago Rush, just name a few AFL teams. When those teams went under and the league went under, you burned a lot of those fan bases. And it's very hard to establish teams and cities that had a record or a history of the AFL team that was successful, had a good fan base, and just left ship the next year.
Yeah.
And you saw that around the league. Luckily for us, Jacksonville, Albany, and Orlando, who have history of the AFL teams, fan bases are still there, and they're still growing. And the one thing I love about this show is that we are those fans. We remember Tommy Grady in his prime. We remember Aaron Garcia in his prime. We remember touchdown Eddie Brown. Like there are players in the past that you talk to the people in this community. Like we know a couple of them. We know Bryce, who's up in Michigan, who has connection to the original AFL and AF2 era. We have Duncan Williams, another guy who is like cemented in AFL knowledge. You go ask him a question about, hey, what happened in 1992 with this team? He'll give you an answer within 5 seconds. He's literally the walking encyclopedia of the Arena Football League. And it's strange is that for me, like you got a lot of people out there that get mad, like, oh, there's competition with other shows. What's going on? Get more competition. I don't like more coverage. I like you got Phil and Leo and RC and San Antonio doing a great show for the San Antonio Gunslingers. I love to see that. Levesque is doing the coaches show with Manas. I love to seeing that. And also you got the Brown, the owner of the Carolina Cobras, doing a coaches show with Coach Rez. Like team, and I think Beam Sports does the same thing for Jason Gibson. So these teams are starting to do it. I love seeing this stuff. Please give it to me every single week. And that's the reason why me and you started this last year. This league is arena football, and I still say it's arena football, and it doesn't get any coverage. I know a lot of people out there miss Arena Fan, who does great. They still do great stuff, even though it's limited staff now.
Mm-hmm.
I remember looking at Arena Fan every single weekend. So, okay, who won this game? Who won this game? Because if you didn't have, what was the ESPN Plus back then? ESPN 3 or something like that?
That would be, ESPN 3, watch ESPN. I mean, at one point, if the AFL, you're talking that, I mean, CBS Sports, and this is, of course, post bankruptcy, the rebirth, the revival, not the golden age, And
a lot of these teams didn't have road broadcast. You didn't have YouTube to go to like you do now in the NAL. And the Arena Fan was the way to get score updates for all these games. And we did this for the NAL because, again, it's the AFL with AFL players, AFL rules. And then it just, when the Sharks moved to this league, I had to follow them. I followed my team. And overall, our show and the community that we have gotten, we have gotten over almost 500 follows on Facebook. We're near 200 followers on Twitter. Instagram's popping. YouTube is growing. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing that if we weren't that type of content, where would the league be right now? And you see in all the games, no matter what league, from the other indoor leagues to us, there is like a rivalry between the three that there shouldn't be, but there is. And I believe, and I have a feeling like you have shows that just, we're going to raise this banner, hurrah, rah, rah. We did the NAL because we're on East Coast. We don't hate the other leagues. We trust. I'm going to break some news, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Zach watch a lot of the other leagues. We do. We just don't talk about it.
I try to keep up. That's the best I can put it, because there's a lot of football out there that I wish I could watch all of it.
But and we have a fan base that a bunch of fans come out and say, hey, we want you to do this coverage and that coverage. And we're like, or two of us covering 23 games a week. That's going to be kind of so we just stuck with the NAL. We didn't turn our backs against them. It's just that's a lot of football to cover in a weekend, especially for you with the USFL. That would have been like torture for you. But it's amazing that I just got to say to the fans, honestly, I'm very humbled that you guys download our shows every single week, watch our videos every single week. We're nearing 6,000 total downloads / views as a podcast. If you would have told me 6,000 last year, so but 1 year and you'd be at 6,000, I would have told you, get out. It's not possible. There's no way that an arena football podcast would get that much. We got near 3,000 or 4,000 downloads before we even became the official member of the NAL. And that just all to you guys, our listeners and our fans, especially the ones who are very active with us on Discord. And
Yes.
we talk to us on YouTube. Without you guys, tuning in and listening to us, our show won't exist. The Smoking Guns podcast won't exist. Inside the Arena won't exist. Without you guys, this is one thing about the arena game that I love. It's not like the NFL. The NFL is all about the players, and the arena game is all about the communities. And so far, it's without you guys, we're not here. And everyone else in this industry that does what we're doing, if they don't thank you, that's an issue. Because without you guys, we don't exist. They don't exist. So I just want to say thank you for the support. 1 year. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But let's end that. Let's talk to some great moments of our show besides the bloopers that will be dropping here hopefully within a week. I have a job. I got to do that. I can't edit this all the time. But anyways, some great moments of our show that honestly, one of my highlights of this year happened this year, and it was a Zach classic. The only way a bye week, the only way you lose to a bye week is the team folds during the bye week. It still got me. And it's so bad because one of our sources, Duncan Williams, we reached out to him. He came, actually talked to us and told us how many people he believed folded during their bye weeks. And then Bryce also added information. And then you were just joking, and we go, holy crap, that's a big number for the bye week taking a team. But it was a classic end of I forgot what episode that was this year. I think it was we're entering week 3 of the season of this year.
Yes,
the first week of bye weeks. You go, hopefully Columbus survives a bye. And you go, the only way a team loses a bye if they folded. And I think I fell flat on my back.
That has been. I'm not letting that one go. That's like an inside joke anymore. But even after this, the stats don't lie. It's the truth. You make it through the full season. Sure, you close like normal. In season, it's all about competition. So
correct.
All you're competing against is your finances and your stability, which the bye week holds the key. You get an extra week off. You can't make it through the bye week. Well, unfortunately, that's the biggest loss that you can have. And I'm facing that so I don't have the reverse on the camera.
Still a classic moment. Still,
that one.
I think that comment hit you hard, or hit me harder than any other comment you've made besides last week, but that was more of a typo. But the full team folding during a bye week, I'm like that. I was done. If we had to continue recording, I would have been laughing the rest of the episode.
Dude, that one was good. I'll tell you the episode we had with Levesque and Gaz still. That one's gonna stay with me from earlier this year with the preseason. That was just off the rails. Folks listening, they'll know. Like it was everywhere. I'm trying to read where this conversation's going at the whole time. Eventually I just kind of go, okay, we'll just ride with what goes on, I guess.
And me and Levesque started to change our names on the
follow
Zoom
more
call.
Jim's lead.
So you start hearing the aggravate or the back and forth rubbing of being Levesque and Gaz. It was a funny episode, but one of the things I want to say about that episode is give credit to Levesque and Gaz for doing what they've been doing up there in Albany for their show. Without them, a lot of us don't know what's going on in Albany, and I got to tip my hat to them. But that episode, in my opinion, with me and Levesque going at each other, and we weren't really like saying it like me and you right now. It's literally in our names on the Zoom call. We're like, Jack, Albany's 0-1 and in Jacksonville, and he'll come back with a comment, and I'll come back with a comment. And he made like a Yankee Red Sox comment. So it's fun, and Goss, of course, getting offended because we were like, I think we were not attacking his production. We were just we're attacking his internet. We were making fun of it. It's like everyone's on 5G and freaking Goss is on dial-up. So that was a good episode. Honestly, I think I want to say about 3 weeks until the season started, and one of our highly watched episodes. But still, I have all respect to Lebec, all respect to Goss and what they do. But yeah, that was supposed to be just get inside the Albany Empire. That turned out to be a whose lines it anyways type episode.
He was very much it was kind of a laugh fest, a little more loose than I'm used to its structure, because I mean I'm you and I very much, it's like, okay, we do ABC, and then this, it was more like off the rails. I'll tell you something, this is something that you and I think have learned over the years. How do we get, because I know maybe people see this, I do the head nod thing now. That's the tell. Yeah, that's to say, okay, Jim, you got a question. This is your time. Instead of basically hogging all the airtime, and there's Jim going,
oh crap, yeah.
When do I get to talk again? Thanks for taking all my questions, Zach. Appreciate it.
Hey, is that a green light? I'll just stay here. Oh shit, it is a green light. I do happen to see that when you do. I'm watching, like I'm looking at who we're interviewing, and obviously I see this. I'm like, does he have a cricket in that? Then it gives me 2 seconds. Like, oh, that's my time. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more? Figure that out. Again, that's if for any of those I guess this is a great chance, I guess, with the year to talk about, like, if you think about podcasting, if you think about want to do that, say you want to do arena, say you want to do something else, if you do a partner, that is something you got to figure out. What is your what's your setup for if you want to interview someone? What's your setup? That's something I think we just went with the flow and finally found a system to settle on way later than we should have. But it works.
Even our first interviews on the show, they weren't bad. Like Mason Espinosa, 2-time interviewer. That man is, he genuine. Like,
honestly, no matter what, he just needs to be back on the show, even if he's not with the league anymore. It's DePaul offensive coordinator Mason Espinosa coming in. How you doing? So about that arena, I haven't watched. Well, still, let's talk about it. Maybe he has. We're speaking for him. He's not here.
Well,
we don't really know.
He is the MVP of the league from last year, so he's played a couple of downs of the arena ball. So, like another quarterback we interviewed, if you know one system, you know them all. And no matter he's been out of football for coming up to a year, he still knows the system. So, yeah, Mason's first off, people got at him about leaving the arena game. A lot of people online thought he was the coach, which was funny. But they realized it was quarterback, and the guy's going to DePaul University, who is down the street to you from Indianapolis.
Yeah, not too far. It's still a drive, but it's not like a long. It's not like something I'm going to be like, all right, we got to make a full day of it. Like I can still get home and have the rest of my day if I wanted to and go to Greencastle.
No.
And I mean, hey, it's historic rivalry there with DePaul and Wabash. So, I mean, honestly, if I had any perfect excuse to go and check one of the oldest rivalries in college football this year, he might force my hand. Not going to lie. And I'll be frank, I'm not really, people that are close to me know this. I'm actually not as much a college football guy. I'm more of the pro scene. I don't know if that's just, I've been NFL so long, maybe, but if there's one that I've read a ton on just the history of it, the fanfare around it, going out for Wabash DePaul is one of those it's one of the small school rivalries that I think many people know about if they're diehard college football fans. So, like I said, perfect timing. I think this is the year. This will be the year. Get a selfie, get some photos. This is the year. Go visit OC Espinosa out there.
Probably. And for you, it's just like a little hop, skip, and the jump. For me, it's about a 20-hour drive. I don't know.
Right?
I don't know what the driving distance is from here to Indianapolis.
It ain't 20, but I mean, it sure feels like it. And I mean, Jesus, that's funny. Anymore, lately you've been mentioning the 900-mile gap between us.
Yeah.
For reference, folks, if you haven't caught on, I'm not exactly next door to these NAL teams. I love this league.
Mm-hmm.
My first NAL game is most likely going to be the championship this year. Been to, and this is for context, I'm saying this, been to IFL games, been to AFL games in the past. Haven't gotten a chance to NAL, but credit, that's only because the Cobras are 9 hours away by drive. And I don't have, let's just say my budget doesn't include plane tickets to go willy-nilly. And I also have another job that, I can't just leave. I'm not a CEO or anything. I still gotta, I gotta go to work.
You need to
gotta do the 8-hour slog every day.
You need to call Jeff Bezos and get a rental for a plane.
I wish. Oh
yeah.
Speaking of things with the 1 year, that this is what's great with the NAL deal we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least working with them. I make it sound so corporate when I say deal. We work alongside. We've gotten to talk with folks in the league and it's been great. Really has been fun to meet folks that are with these teams and also with the league office. We also have votes for these for the week player of the week and Ironman now, which is incredible. This week's we got to put in, and I'm only saying this just because it came across my screen to let you know Kendrick Ings won Ironman this week.
I didn't vote. I voted for Panther. I mean, really, Panther, James? Come on. I voted for Cobra this week. That's the second time in the second day I've said freaking Panthers. You can tell the NFL season's been a lot chatter here in Jacksonville. I'm starting saying NFL team names.
Oh, it's getting
like.
I mean, NFL wise, training camps are coming closer and closer. They're already doing, OTA type of work anyway. Yeah. So I get it. Just keep eyes on the prize, Jim. Still got arena in front of us.
Yeah,
I'm messing though, but
it doesn't help when your favorite sports show spends 4 segments, which, and if you haven't listened to radio stations lately, 4 segments is an hour for them.
Mm-hmm.
They broke down the AFC, what they predict the AFC is going to be, all 4 divisions.
Oh,
for 1 hour of their show today. I'm like, I don't care what happens in the AFC West. Yeah, Broncos. Yeah, good. They're gonna be solid this year. Can we talk about something else? Like I didn't care about Kansas City. I know the AFC West is gonna be legit. All right. But yeah, it's just you could tell down south that football, NFL, college football season is nearing when that is just the only 2 topics that are being talked about here in Jacksonville. And it's difficult for me. I'm like, I still got arena season, but I'm starting to call these teams. Like I called the Sharks yesterday, the Jaguars. I called the Cobras, the Panthers yesterday. I'm like, here we go again. It's like, 'tis the season, but as fans of the game, I love it. I love that we in the arena and we're in the NFL season instantly, no week off. So yeah, but yeah, Kinger Ings. At least I voted for a Carolina guy. I didn't vote for Kinger Ings, but still.
I will say I did vote for Kendrick Ings. I will gladly put that on here. my vote ended up on the league's social media. No, anyway, I just wanted to say though that is something that's been pretty cool, with what we've been able to do this year, and it shows for us it's a step. I mean, like I said, it's kind of cool that we get to be called that. I think both of us are really grateful for that. That we get to be that podcast voice for the National Arena League. That's been, like I said, for amazing that in a year, that's what's kind of gone down, a lot of hard work put in, it's been a ride. It's been for both of us, on and off, it's been kind of a roller coaster up and down for some things, and just the way it is.
Managing, going around work schedules, internet issues, mobile studio,
right.
What else? Personal issues that struck last year, and for you've gone 52 straight episodes hardcore without missing a beat and without missing an episode.
I've tried. I've certainly tried.
But we do have to tell fans that coming up in July, I'll be doing it solo, probably with either a special guest or a person that is associated with the National Arena League joining me. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Zach takes a week off. How dare he?
Well,
Or it could be just the Inside the Walls, the Jim Murray Power Hour, all 3 hours on the hour. like promote it that way. Jim, what's about?
It's a big live stream you split into 3 shows.
Jim, are you going to talk about the Albany Empire? No, I am a Jacksonville Sharks fan. We're going to talk about Jacksonville Sharks football. All 3 episodes next week. Here's why they lost. Here's why they win. This is why you stink. No, I'm not going to be like that. But yeah, that's coming up in July. We say July 18th is going to start for you?
No, it'll be the 9th. Well, the week.
Oh, yeah, the 9th.
For July 9th, I'm leaving. So it'll be like the week of the 10th through the 16th, 17th. Yeah, I'm actually heading for a vacation in Ireland, going with the Madre there at my house. So her and I going for 10 days. We're driving the southern portion of Ireland, starting in Dublin, working our way around, then we'll cut back across the island or the country, back to Dublin to end. So should be really good time. I've never been. I've been to some places in Europe before when growing up, but never been to Ireland, and it just kind of was a spur of the moment thing. To give you some backstory on my parents, especially my mother, very much is a world traveler type if she can. Loves to get out and about, go see new places. So just kind of something spur of the moment type of event, but it does make me miss 1 week. That's okay. Obviously Jim can handle it, and if he has a special guest that we're thinking of, that'll be. I want to listen just to hear how that tandem works. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not working. I just want to hear it.
And we might finally get an Ireland download. Yay!
Yes. I will do it. I will do it just to get the Ireland statistic on our page.
Yes,
we are international.
Sir.
Arena football's gone international.
Actually, we've already been international, by the way.
Okay.
Aruba, I think Aruba got a download.
Inside the Walls, at least, will have gone international somewhere else.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
But still, yeah. So that's coming up in July, ladies and gentlemen. You'll get me for 3 episodes. It's going to be entertaining. Special guest. Going to hint on that special guest. Is Jacksonville Sharks related? Surprise. But yeah, I won't make that announcement until next week. But overall, yeah, 52 straight weeks. You've interviewed countless of players on this without me. Me and you've gotten some great guests, from Lonnie Outlaw to Mason Espinosa to Brian Higgs to Tyrone Laughinghouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got in-depth behind scenes with Coach Gibson, Coach Manas, Coach Resinalo. It's amazing how just this singular podcast, this show, for a year has connected with so many people. And honestly, how I wanted to do this is not really like highlighting great moments of the show, but it's my favorite episode of all episodes was we interviewed Coach Gibson the week before the NAL championship game. Yeah. And it was the reason why it's my favorite interview is we got to understand Coach Gibson's style of football by how he was describing the Columbus Lions, how he prepares his team. And when people say why I shine a light too much on Columbus, that's the reason why. Plus, me and Zach had almost over an hour conversation with them off camera, and we got into more information about Columbus. I think that was our best episode. Now, I'm not saying anything bad towards Coach Manas. Coach Rez is another great interview. Coach Manas is another great interview. Coach Rez basically told us on these airways here on Inside the Walls that we basically created our own fantasy football league team with him last year. And
I thought that was hilarious, by the way,
still
getting that confirmation for that, because that was such speculative type of maybe that is what happened. And to hear a coach go, oh, that's a good point. Maybe I should see if we can get a run here. And it is 6 teams, and it is, we have think about last year, Jersey, for all the talent on there, they were just kind of hanging around, all it was going to take was one team to just do a quick pop up the standings and boom,
Also, that's true. The 6-team league, you just need to find a spark, and you got it. And they got it right at the end of the season, made a move. But also, we got to tip our hat to our guest, actually our recurring guest on our show. That's Devin Wilson.
Yep.
That is Mason Espinoza. Those two guys, Gibson, of course, Coach Rez again. We finally got Jonathan Bain. We were trying to get him last year, and finally got him this year. I can't, because this is Turf Talk, and it's some of the hardest things to do is find people who know the game and have a conversation with players and coaches, and them talking to you, knowing that you understand what they're thinking, what their mindset is. And Gibson gave us a very good opening to what the Columbus Lions organization. We're good associates with the owner of the Columbus Lions, Josh Blair. He's given us some information too, and ideas of what the league's doing, what the team's doing in Columbus. And it just even the interviews gives these players, gives these coaches, it gives these owners chances to get on TV or get on the YouTube and project what they're trying to build or what they're trying to preach about their organization. And then we're that outlet, and I love being that outlet because we get to see just not the players. We get to see the characters. We get to see what type of person they are, what type of husband they are, what type of father they are, what type of person they are in the community. That's one thing I love about Turf Talk. And I know this is a 1-year anniversary show. We have no one to talk to, just me and you. But still, it's those little things that, to me, bring the arena game closer to the fans because they're just like us. These players have other jobs. This is not the NFL.
Yep, that's
They're
right.
They're not $65 million a year contracts. They're not. They, after the season ends, they got to go to their 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job tomorrow. And putting the face on the player and putting the coach on the player, basically, I don't know what terminology it is. It just tells me that these are just not players. These are future coaches. These are future fathers. These are future ownerships. You look at Mason, he's already a coach. You look at Brian Hicks, he's getting into coaching. You got players like Lonnie Outlaw mentioned that he wants to get into coaching later. We have players that we interview that want to move up in this industry. And it's nice that we get to share their stories that may not get onto the local newspapers or may not get into the local TV stations or even your local radio station.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that we help put the face of the league out there. Because Lonnie Outlaw is a character. One, I think if you watch the Columbus documentary series, ladies and gentlemen, go do that. Lonnie Outlaw is my favorite guy on that episode, besides Mason. Mason's pretty cool. He complains about his knee too much throughout the episode series, but Lonnie is the comic of relief. But there's some great moments in that series. There's so many people we've talked to. Malachi Jones. We've talked to Devin Wilson. We've talked to, Rashid Khalid
Rashad. You're jumbling up your words there.
I almost said Rakeem Cato. We haven't had Cato yet.
Mark it down. I mean, I very much would love to have a conversation with Rakeem
and also
Cato.
Higgins, Sam Castronova, Warren Smith Jr., Brian Hicks, Mason Espinoza, Darren Clark Jr., Devin Maxwell. The list just keeps going. And of course, Chris Siegfried, the commissioner.
Yeah, that one was pretty special. I'd been, I think
most downloaded show, by the way.
Well, yeah, most of us, I think both of us just wanted to,
get him on the show.
At some point, get him on, and that just kind of checked off a box for us. So that was great. And the connection we've had with the commissioner and with the with the league, it's been awesome. It's been fantastic, I think, so far since we've started this partnership we have and being the official show.
Even the tough love episodes.
Even like I said, I think that's what's nice. We get to, we put in our 2 cents, and the league does listen to people. I can't stress that enough. They do listen and take feedback. We've seen this firsthand, and we've talked about this with folks as well. So it happens, I'll tell you one of my favorite interview from this past one. Commissioner Siegfried was one of them. The one that really sticks out to me actually was getting a chance to right out of the gate talk with ownership at the time for the San Antonio Gunslingers, as well as head coach Fred Shaw. That was, now granted, I know you weren't able to attend for that one.
I think I was at a wedding that weekend.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit timing was off, but I stepped in, and I'll tell you, I had a blast discussing with it. Hector and them, like we've heard from those with the Gunslingers that are fans, they had a vision. They wanted to bring football to a different level out there in San Antonio. And with San Antonio as a city, it has had downright bad luck with teams sticking around at a professional level. It is nice that, even though Hector and them are not with the organization anymore, the fact they got this thing off the ground, it's here. The fact we have to talk with them and how passionate they were about saying, hey, we want this to be a mainstay in the city. We want this to be something that special people can rally behind. And that they want to expand, they want to go with the league's vision of, eventually we want to get bigger. We want to be a prominent league, or the prominent league in the country. And and as much along the lines of what Commissioner Siegfried said in our interview, bring back with at least the AFL and the arena feel. I'll say arena feel more than the AFL feel, because the NAL is its own thing. They want to bring back what arena football is, that to me was cool.
And also to add on Hector, by the way, yes, they've transitioned to the new ownership group. That group was called the OG3. And one thing I've noticed about the original OG3 of San Antonio Gunslinger, they're still active in the NAL community, and they're still cheering on the Gunslingers. They're still talking to fans. Of course. That just tells me that they wanted this to move on, but they're not salty about it. We've seen ownerships in this league, not just the NAL, but other leagues, when they sell their product for better pastures, they've become like, oh, this is the reason why it happened. They start attacking the current owner or why the team didn't, succeed. But Hector Garcia and them, no, they've been straightforward. They've been very openly interacting with fans, and that's a big sign of professionalism there. And yes, I think John Wayne has a great opportunity now in San Antonio. Their team has shown it so far the last couple of weeks, but it just tells me that there's no grudge between the two organizations, and Hector is very happy with the product that he brought to San Antonio. And I didn't have a chance to interview him. We did try to get him and the new ownership group together for an interview, but everything's so chaotic. We couldn't do anything, and then we were told by the league to not jump on it too soon without being finalized. But still, the professionalism from Hector, that's very hard to do. Get rid of your baby and then show that professionalism and I can still support this without being the owner. And that's a tip of the hat to him. That made me earn a lot of respect for that guy. Besides all the chatter here behind the scenes of the organization. But yeah, it's I wish I was in that interview. Fred Shaw seemed like a pretty cool cat, and still does. And you can see how the mentality of his team is. They play him like what Fred Shaw played back. He was a Talon for the San Antonio Talons back in the day. So, that was an intriguing interview. Like, we've had some interesting interviews throughout the whole process, man. We had a guy that came on our show pretty recently. That it was not a lot of long answers or like short answers, and we kept getting into that. Was Khalil Rashad. Still a great interview, still one of our popular interviews. But again, that was our first time getting into the San Antonio community with our shows, and it's almost like what we finally got here was desperately needed, and the fans of San Antonio supported. That was one of my great interviews. And also, every single interview, people said, I get people that message me, that seemed like a hard interview to do. Was that hard? Oh, not really. You got to see what the player, you got to feel out the player, how he's going to interact with some questions. You just can't go up to him and say, hey, why did he drop that pass on the second down play? Like, we're not the people that you see on the NFL games. Right. Like, well, how are you going to bounce back? We're not there. These guys have had, they've just come back from a long road trip. In this case, for Rashad, was a 20-hour bus ride back to Greensboro, and he had a chance to talk to us. Again, all the respect. He doesn't have to do it.
No, not at all. No, you don't have to. I think that's what's crazy is, these guys are very, there's been a few that we've had, unfortunately, you have to do it the day of, and they go, hey, sign me up. Actually, Khalil was one of those that it was like, he was completely, like just a few hours before we had to go on. It's like, hey, are you able to do this? Would you like to? He was courteous enough to do that. So like players, they don't have to take these opportunities. It's nice that they jump on. Like
Yeah,
that's really cool. You know,
we've had for our fans out there that ask, so you need to get this player on, this player on, this player. It's not hard getting these players on. What's hard is either Jim or Zach forget what time we're supposed to talk to these people because we forget. It's like it's supposed to be Tuesday at 6 or Tuesday at 7. Then we get messages like, "Hey, I was waiting for this time." I'm like, darn, it was today, not tomorrow. We've had that occasion, but again, those situations, Coach Reds was he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And we rearranged it for the next day, but he wanted to wait to get Bain on. So we got both Bain and Coach Reds in that episode. And I think the first Moss interview was supposed to be done on a Tuesday, and we weren't ready. And he was like, yo, we had an interview. We're like, oh, so we did the Wednesday. And I think that's when me and you both went blank. I don't know how that happened.
I'm pretty sure we had to reshuffle that one too.
We still got the Nos one, and it's amazing. These interviews are incredible. Now, one of the besides, you can watch all of our shows, ladies and gentlemen, up to Mason Espinosa's interview. All the rest of our interviews are available on our podcast platforms, available everywhere, by the way.
Yep.
We have, when the last time I checked, around 11 platforms. Spotify's finally getting some numbers. Finally. It's been a while. We've tried a year to get that thing going and finally got some numbers. But yeah, you can follow a lot of our old past shows, quarterbacks, receivers. We've had players for the championship game, Malachi Jones, MVP of the NAL championship game. We try to, how everyone should know, we try to get each city at least once every week, go in a 6-week rotation. That will change probably next year, based on how the schedule is set up, how we're going to do. Like, we want to interview players after they won a game, besides interview players after they lost a game. Give them more of a vibe to the. See, I'm doing that what kids do now these days, vibing to the episodes. That's little adjustments we're going to make it more interactive, and plus, a lot of the players would be more accepted to get on the show and talk after a win than a loss. Not everyone's Mason Espinosa. Not everyone is Gibson. Gibson came on with a 2-game losing streak, and ever since he interviewed with us, they're 2-0. So again, is Columbus our fantasy football team this year? Just FYI. If so, they win, be a hashtag inside the walls, man, win it all, because they interviewed him and got everything started. But I want to talk about something to kind of close this out. Is our power rankings. I never this is funny, dude. I every website, a lot of playout websites that cover the indoor league do power rankings, but they add every single league into it, which I don't agree with. They don't play our style of football, but our power rankings, man, every time I post our power rankings on the NL pages and on all the arena football pages and even our pages, we get some heat. Get some heat.
I'm not even gonna try and defend that we get heat. Power rankings are such an opinionated thing anyway. You know, yeah. I mean, for example, it's funny. Anytime this is always the situation that comes up with power rankings, or is what you'll have is when we do walkthroughs this year, you'll notice we do the rankings and then we go and do picks. And so what always kills me is if we do a power ranking and I post someone in front of another team and then I project that the lower team's going to beat the one that's above, people are like, what's with that? I'm like, well, I mean, come on, you got to think about the whole season trend here. That's how I usually am rolling with it.
Are you calling out a certain somebody?
No, I am not. I've had multiple people talk about this. I'm just saying, this is how I do it. You have to put the whole season into account and also recency bias in, mix it together. That's where you come with the rank. That's just my thought. And again, this isn't, no. Don't put me into that trap, Jim. This is something I've had on the side besides arena football. That's how I do rankings. It comes down to it. And sometimes you select it based on a trend upward or downward. And I think that's kind of how I do it, where say if I'm picking one team below to beat the one above, it's kind of because the trends are showing that maybe next week I change my rankings, and that would be based on that choice. That's kind of how I do it. But rankings, I mean, it's so hard to do perfect rankings. Yeah, everyone's got their own choices. You know,
Mhm.
I always feel bad like the early season. Now, credit San Antonio, they're going on the upward swing. But at the beginning of the year, I mean, you always feel bad. You know, you have a team going start 0-4, then goes 0-5. What do you do? You can
Mhm.
give silver linings, but you can't move them in the rank. So it feels bad when you do that. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
or you have teams that like, hey, we won this week and that team lost. Why you didn't jump them? Why we didn't jump in your rankings? Because you lost to them. They have the
Well, and
tiebreaker over
stuff like
you.
that too. I need more, like I've told you, I need more sampler size. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, credit, like remember Jacksonville, they got that upset win over the Lions at the time. And I was like,
Mhm.
I can't really move them too far because it was one win out of, 1-4 at that point. Now they're 4-5. Clearly much better. Much was going on the upward swing when they got Arvell and Nelson after that set
Mhm.
upset. So things were adjusted, you
Yeah.
know, things were well
Well,
adjusted.
ever since that game, they went they're 4-2 over the last 6 games. So they've improved over that.
Yeah, sorry, they went 1-3. They then went to Albany. Yes, that's right. They went to
Yeah.
Albany. That's when they had to, unfortunately, Malik Henry had
Yeah, and they
injury
went
there. So
and then
then they
three in a
got
row.
in Arvell. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. So 4-2. But nonetheless, I need
Mhm.
trends, also some more wins,
Mhm.
losses. Look, power rankings, you got to think about it for a second. Now,
Yeah.
if everybody wins and everything stays where you're expecting one week, okay, that's nice.
Right.
So we had one of those this year, but like otherwise, lately it's completely more. I have to sit down every week and go, how do I break this down?
Yeah.
Everyone's in the middle now. You know, it
Yeah.
just gets a little harder when it's like this. When it's not like
Yeah,
last year, it's like top heavy, and you got two teams sitting up there just
there's
waiting
only
for the
one
playoffs.
yeah, one team on top and I got to find a way to put these 5 teams in order.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to go, do you base it off record? Do you base it off the schedule? Do you base off of recent trends? It's hard. Like, let's just say I've done this week's power ranking, in my opinion, 4 different ways, and I'm not satisfied each way I've done. That's how power rankings are getting to us now, and the messages that we get from a lot of our loyal supporters, like Dave Williams, that's one. David's another guy. Who's the other one that messages a lot? That's constantly one of our major supporters. Just keeps like, well, this team did this in week 2. Why is he still here? So on. So it's like, thank you for support. But one thing I've noticed, and I've told this people on our show, and I'll tell you guys here, how do I base my power rankings? To cause controversy. Because if you have power rankings that are good, like I think mine are good. So far, my power rankings this year are, if my power rankings are good, they don't change each week. Just saying. Um, but overall, I do a lot of this. I do who they play, how the trend's going, and what one will get more controversy, where they'll go to our ad, click on it, go to our episode, and hear what we have to say about it. It's almost free advertising. You got to place that. Yeah, those stupid clickbait thumbnails that people see on YouTube. Like, oh, can't believe this is in this movie, and go look at that exact scene. It's not there. They designed
Mhm.
something that's there. Basically, that's what I'm doing. But yes, power rankings are hard, and the reason why me and you started doing this is for this reason: is get more interaction between you, the fans, and us, and it actually helps the league itself. Because I wish the league did their own power rankings like other leagues do, especially the big one that plays on Sundays during the fall. They do power rankings, what all their news sources do. So I think
Mhm.
it just builds conversation, builds up everything. But overall, power rankings don't mean anything in American sports. In American sports, we have a thing called the playoffs. You can be the 6th power ranked team and still make the playoffs. Make the playoffs. That's the ultimate power ranking. The final 4 here in the National Arena League. And of course, in the NFL, I think it's what now 14 teams. They keep expanding each year, it seems like. But still, yeah, I do it because it caused controversy and it gets more eyes, just not on our show, but more eyes on the product itself that plays on Fridays and Saturday nights during the spring and early summer months.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I feel all that, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a year, you know, it's been quite a year,
Touche.
but we have
Yeah.
another, let's say, more to come. like I said, for preparations for I guess what's to come for us. Mainly get through this next season, kind of work, kind of continue our really our still pretty newish relationship with the NAL in our regard. Talk with that, do the live show, which that should be a big step for us, because hopefully that leads to more down the line that we can do with that and do the championship, and just see what the offseason takes us. Because I mean, with the NAL, I mean, obviously Ironman, it's I don't see it going anywhere. I mean, Commissioner Siegfried, as the vibe we get from him is that it's here to stay, and I think more and more we've seen people accepting of the style, at least of the Ironman rulings. It's made for exciting play. Some players that I didn't know could play as well in this system. So, the NAL is changing. Hopefully it grows. I'm not going to,
it will.
I mean, it will. You want to get more teams in 6, and we can't.
I'd say it's growing now. Look at the fan support in Orlando. Look at the fan support in Columbus. Look at the fan support in Jacksonville.
Right.
It's growing now.
And besides that, I'm talking like locations, because I mean, obviously expansion's the name of the game with this level every year. We'll see what goes on there. Obviously, off season's ahead, but I think really for this coming year, we just let we want to hopefully do more live shows, see where the things go with the NAL, and give you as best of a show as we can. And you guys can feel free to keep chiming in and let us know what we can do better. Feedback is important for podcasts, for sure. It helps us improve, and of course also give you the content you want to hear too. So next year, when we do this recap year 2, maybe there'll be a few little different things we can touch on that we can revisit from this episode. Should be fun. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. It's been a hell of a 365, as I like to call it. Plenty of things ahead. Stay tuned for the final walkthrough coming up this week. And have a full thing discussing week 10 in the NAL. Should be plenty of unique picks and discussion with how the season is turning out right now. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Thanks for following along with us. We got plenty more down the road. Until next time, though, for the 1-year anniversary, I got to make you do this, Jim. Just remember one thing, ladies and gentlemen, like we always say.
Don't be a jack out of the box. Happy anniversary, Inside the Walls.
Catch you Friday, everybody. Stay tuned.
Covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Bernier.